Welcome, you've found the easiest way to learn HTML. HTML, Hypertext Markup Language, is the code that is used to structure a web page and its content. For example, content could be structured within a set of paragraphs, a list of bulleted points, or using images and data tables. As the title suggests, in this video I will give you a basic understanding of HTML and its functions. Before starting, I recommend you to watch the set of videos in which I introduce you to the practicalities of web development. You'll set up the tools you need to construct a web page and publish your own code. So what is HTML? HTML is a markup language that defines the structure of your content. HTML consists of a series of elements, which you use to enclose, or wrap, different parts of the content to make it appear a certain way, or act a certain way. Then closing tags can make a word or image hyperlink to somewhere else, can italicize words, can make the font bigger or smaller, and so on. For example, take the line of content. If we wanted the line to stand by itself, we could specify that it is a paragraph by enclosing it in paragraph tags. Anatomy of an HTML element. Let's explore this paragraph element a bit further. The main parts of our elements are as follows. Number 1. The opening tag. This consists of the name of the element, in this case, P, wrapped in opening and closing angle brackets. This states where the element begins or starts to take effect. In this case, where the paragraph begins. Number 2. The closing tag. This is the same as the opening tag except that it includes a / before the element's name. This states where the element ends, in this case where the paragraph ends. Failing to add a closing tag is one of the standard beginner errors and can lead to strange results. Number 3. The content. This is the content of the element, which in this case, is just text. Number 4. The element, the opening tag, the closing tag, and the content together comprise the element. Elements can also have attributes that look like the following. Attributes contain extra information about the element that you don't want to appear in the actual content. Here, class is the attribute name and editor note is the attribute value. The class attribute allows you to give the element a non-unique identifier that can be used to target it, and any other elements with the same class value, with style information and other things. An attribute should always have the following. A space between it and the element name, or the previous attribute, if the element already has one or more attributes. The attribute name followed by an equal sign. The attribute value wrapped by opening and closing quotation marks. Note that simple attribute values that don't contain ASCII with e-space, or any of the characters, can remain unquoted, but it is recommended that you quote all attribute values, as it makes the code more consistent and understandable. Nesting elements. You can put elements inside other elements too. This is called nesting. If we wanted to state that our cat is very grumpy, we could wrap the word very in a strong element, which means that the word is to be strongly emphasized. You do, however, need to make sure that your elements are properly nested. In the example above, we opened the P element first, then the strong element. Therefore, we have to close the strong element first, then the P element. The following is incorrect. The elements have to open and close correctly so that they are clearly inside or outside one another. If they overlap as shown above, then your web browser will try to make the best guess at what you were trying to say, which can lead to unexpected results. So don't do it. Empty elements. Some elements have no content and are called empty elements. Take the img element that we already have in our HTML page. This contains 2 attributes, but there is no closing /img tag and no inner content. This is because an image element doesn't wrap content to affect it. Its purpose is to embed an image in the HTML page in the place it appears. Anatomy of an HTML document. That wraps up the basics of individual HTML elements, but they aren't handy on their own. Now we'll look at how individual elements are combined to form an entire HTML page. Let's revisit the code we put into our index.html example, which we first met in last video, which I put the link above. Here, we have the following. Doctype HTML, doctype. It is a required preamble. In the mists of time, when HTML was young, around 1991/92, Doc types were meant to act as links to a set of rules that the HTML page had to follow to be considered good HTML, which could mean automatic error checking and other useful things. However, these days, they don't do much and are basically just needed to make sure your document behaves. That's all you need to know for now. HTML/HTML, the HTML element. This element wraps all the content on the entire page and is sometimes known as the root element. Head/head, the head element. This element acts as a container for all the stuff you want to include on the HTML page that isn't the content you are showing to your page's viewers. This includes things like keywords and a page description that you want to appear in search results, CSS to style our content, character set declarations, and more. Meta charset UTF-8. This element sets the character set your document should use to UTF-8, which includes most characters from the vast majority of written languages. Essentially, it can now handle any textual content you might put on it. There is no reason not to set this, and it can help avoid some problems later on. Title/title, the title element. This sets the title of your page, which is the title that appears in the browser tab the page is loaded in. It is also used to describe the page when you bookmark/favorite it. Body/body, the body element. This contains all the content that you want to show to web users when they visit your page, whether that's text, images, videos, games, playable audio tracks, or whatever else. Images. Let's turn our attention to the img element again. As I said before, it embeds an image into our page in the position it appears. It does this via the src, source, attribute, which contains the path to our image file. I have also included an alternative, attribute. In this attribute, you specify descriptive text for users who cannot see the image, possibly because of the following reasons. They are visually impaired. Users with significant visual impairments often use tools called screen readers to read out the alt text to them. Something has gone wrong causing the image not to display. For example, try deliberately changing the path inside your src attribute to make it incorrect. If you save and reload the page, you should see something like this in place of the image. The keywords for alt text are descriptive text. The alt text you write should provide the reader with enough information to have a good idea of what the image conveys. In this example, our current text of my test image is no good at all. A much better alternative for our Firefox logo would be the Firefox logo, a flaming fox surrounding the Earth. Try coming up with some better alt text for your image now. Marking up text. This section will cover some of the essential HTML elements you'll use for marking up the text. Headings. Heading elements allow you to specify that certain parts of your content are headings, or subheadings. In the same way that a book has the main title, chapter titles, and subtitles, an HTML document can too. HTML contains 6 heading levels, H1 to H6, although you'll commonly only use 3 to 4 at most. Note that anything in HTML between -and is an HTML comment. The browser ignores comments as it renders the code. In other words, they are not visible on the page, just in the code. HTML comments are a way for you to write helpful notes about your code or logic. Now try adding a suitable title to your HTML page just above your img element. You'll see that your heading level 1 has an implicit style. Don't use heading elements to make text bigger or bold, because they are used for accessibility and other reasons such as SEO. Try to create a meaningful sequence of headings on your pages, without skipping levels. Paragraphs. As explained above, P elements are for containing paragraphs of text. You'll use these frequently when marking up regular text content. Add your sample text. You should have it from what will your website look like, into one or a few paragraphs, placed directly below your img element. Lists. A lot of the web's content is lists, and HTML has special elements for these. Marking up lists always consists of at least 2 elements. The most common list types are ordered and unordered lists. Unordered lists are for lists where the order of the items doesn't matter, such as a shopping list. These are wrapped in a UL element. Ordered lists are for lists where the order of the items does matter, such as a recipe. These are wrapped in an OL element. Each item inside the lists is put inside an list item element. For example, if we wanted to turn the part of the following paragraph fragment into a list, we could modify the markup to this. Try adding an ordered or unordered list to your example page. Links. Links are very important. They are what makes the web a web. To add a link, we need to use a simple element, a being the short form for anchor. To make text within your paragraph into a link, follow these steps. Number 1, choose some text. We chose the text Mozilla Manifesto. Number 2, wrap the text in an a element, as shown below. Number 3, give the a element an href attribute, as shown below. Number 4, fill in the value of this attribute with the web address that you want the link to. You might get unexpected results if you omit the https:// or http:// part, called the protocol, at the beginning of the web address. After making a link, click it to make sure it is sending you where you wanted it to. Note that href might appear like a rather obscure choice for an attribute name at first. If you are having trouble remembering it, remember that it stands for Hypertext Reference. Add a link to your page now, if you haven't already done so. Conclusion. If you have followed all the instructions in this video, you should end up with a page that looks like the one below. If you get stuck, you can always compare your work with finished example code, which I put the link on description. Here, I have only really scratched the surface of HTML. To find out more, wait for my Learning HTML topic. Be sure to follow the next parts of this tutorial. I hope this tutorial is useful for you. If you liked this video, be sure to like this video, subscribe LearningVid channel, activate the bell next to it. Don't miss the next videos. I love you very much. Until next tutorial. Goodbye.